To ascertain what the M3 money supply really is, since Bernanke stopped reporting it to the public saying that it's of no consequence?
I love questions like this. This to me is fantastic. Because he asked, do we know what M3 is and do we know the accurate numbers? But if you went to the Congress right now, I don't want to say anything negative about my fellow congressmen, but there are 435 of us. If you could find 35 that really knew about M3, you'd be lucky. But M3 is a number that they've reported for years and years and years. It's the maximum, it's the largest number measuring all our money supply. Not only cash, but the savings and the CDs, and it's a very, very large number. And about 5, 6 years ago, they quit reporting it because it was going up too fast. So I pressed the Fed at the time. I said, why won't you tell us what M3 is? And they said, well, it costs us too much money to get the figure. You know, they have all the numbers there, and it really costs you a lot of money. The way you print money, trillions of dollars and give it away, and it was going to cost, they were going to do it to save money. What an insult. But M3, yes, we do have it pretty good. There's a website that carries it, and it's John Williams, Shadow Stats. John Williams, and he measures it, and I think he's pretty good. And it did dip down rather sharply with the recession, and now is climbing once again, which means that when M3 climbs, that indicates that the money is circulating, and they have pumped and pumped and pumped into the banks, so that money now is leaking out in the economy. And as you see this M3 going up, you will see prices going up as well. But that's available, and I think it's a pretty accurate measurement.
All right, time for a couple more. Any hands? In the back, please. Ma'am?
Me.
Yes, please.
First of all, I just want to say, Dr. Paul, I am very pleased to be at your event, and I am very pleased to think about a presidential candidate that has got a military background as a commander-in-chief. I think that's very much a plus. I personally work for the Veterans Administration. I think they're a very worthwhile organization. But I do think that there's a lot of duplication in services at the VA, that there's a ton of money that could be saved in the Veterans Administration. And I do want to say that I'm a military child, and the selling off of military bases for short-term gains is, I think, very short-sighted, and I hope that if you do become our president, that you will keep the military bases that we have at present and not sell them.
The bases here.
Yes.
Oh. She likes to do it. She likes to do it. She works for the VA. Okay.
She's concerned about selling off.
Right. It's a good question, because I think it was in the 90s that they had this commission which was set up outside the Congress, and they were supposed to pick and choose on closing down all the military bases. And they did close a lot of military bases down. And technically, some of them, I guess, could have been justified as being cut down. But I did not like it. I did not like the commission. I thought that Congress should make those decisions. And I argued foreign policy at the time. I said, yes, you're closing down bases in this country and building bases in places like Saudi Arabia, which elicited the hatred toward us because we were invading all these countries. So I would say that there is no need, especially if I'm going to bring all those troops home, I'll probably want to activate those bases, because there'll have to be a place to put the people that are coming back. So ultimately, though, I think reforms would be okay, and look at them, but that would not be a goal. I think I did not like it in the 1990s, and that would not be an outstanding goal to close down the bases. And when it comes to veterans, I think the only appropriation bill that I've ever voted for has been for veterans, because I think this is so sad what's going on right now. The care that they get, both as a physician and as a congressman, it's really tough getting the care for the veterans that struggle. First, it was the Agent Orange being declared a real illness, and Persian Gulf War syndrome, and now just think of what we have. We have the many coming back that are amputees and head injuries, post-traumatic stress syndromes, and it's not we lost 6,000, but we have 40,000 severe injury, but hundreds of thousands who are begging and pleading for help. And right now, this is a statistic that I have trouble believing is true, but they're claiming now that we're having more suicide deaths than we are on combat death. So there's something drastically wrong, and we put too many of our military personnel in the way of danger, and this is what results. But I believe that is a consequence of a deeply flawed foreign policy, and I would like to change that foreign policy so we wouldn't have such a burden.